Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we'll be going through cleaning up some ptarmigan paperbacks. These are published by Penguin, and also another run of early vintage Penguin books, right back to #1 in fact, that were picked up at the recent barn find. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so I've pulled out all the ptarmigan books because there's only a small pile of them, and I'd like to compare these against my own ones. They're not massively scarce, and they're not really that collectible, but they are quite a tough series to pull together, I think. Now, this one has got some spine coming away a little bit here. This is #1 in the series, and these were books from my recent barn find, which you've probably seen the video by now on my main channel, and it was quite the event, and it was just what I was waiting for, really. I wanted a nice big haul, and I had a nice crime haul, and I got these as well, so I can't complain. And it's meant that I've had cleaning videos coming out of my well, you know what. Here we are, look at this. Yeah, we've had more books to clean than we can sort of deal with, really, you know, so but that's okay. Keeps it interesting, doesn't it? And I said, not everything has ever been done. I don't think I've ever cleaned my existing ptarmigan books, in all honesty. Maybe I have, I can't remember, but I know that one or two of them are a bit low grade, so I've got the whole run from the barn find here today, and I'm going to do the best job I can on them. I'll probably have another complete set, which I'll sell as a set, spare, by the looks of it. And I think someone will be quite interested in picking those up, I would think, as long as the price is right. Look at that, another one. Look. Evidently the glue on book #1 was not the best from 1945, and that's why these two have both had loose spines. Oh, we've got one more to do, if you can believe. We've got 3 of #1. It'd be interesting to see if the last one's got a bad spine as well, because these things do tend to be across a complete run, you know, so we'll see. Now, it's nice weather today, so I'm thinking, similar to the last video, maybe not the last one you saw, but the last one that I filmed, we're going to do the brushing at the end. We're going to do it outside the studio, so I don't fill my lungs with dust. Now, this one's actually not fallen to bits, but it's a reprint. Look at that. So it's a reprint. So it's actually okay, but it's a reprint. How dare it? I can't really see much difference in the design of it, but there you go. Right, #2, something to think about. And of course, these are just like puzzles, you know, they're all sorts of puzzles. Someone's made a few little marks in that one, a few little ticks to show which ones they've done. But I'm not going to go through and take all them out. It's like taking the bits out of a crossword book, isn't it? Yeah, that's the first from 45. Interesting that #1 had a reprint. 30p crossed out and made 10p. Make of that what you will. Okay, we got 4 copies of this, if you can believe it, but one of them looks decidedly ropey, so we may not be able to do much with that. This one seems beautiful. That seems a really high grade copy of this one. That's a really nice one. So that may be an upgrade for myself. Yeah, this one is actually really low grade, and this may be a bit too far gone to save, to be honest, because they're so not worth much. That one just isn't worth keeping, and I've got 3 other copies to play with. Right, this one, the corner there is missing a little bit of the turquoise corner. (1945). This is just on how to play bridge, I notice, which is a card game which I hear is very good, but I've never, that's a nice copy, I've never attempted to play it. It always seemed a little bit too complicated. At number 4 here, word play, only one copy of this one. Once again, seems quite a really nice fresh copy, that, so hopefully some of these are going to be upgrades to my own, which is what I'm hoping. Who wrote that? Number 5. Yeah, we've moved on to 1946 now. Then we've got 4 copies of this one, Chipwinkle. This one's crosswords and stuff. This one's a little bit more worn. This one is just crosswords, and some of the crosswords have been done. As you can see. So not the greatest, and it's very, very worn. So I think that's probably another one, since we got so many. We probably don't need to keep that one. Let's see what this one's like. A few done again. But it is more robust to copy. As I said, I'd like to have, I will have one complete set spare, basically. Because there was 9 in the series, and we got all 9 here. Here's another copy. That one had 50p on the front. It's quite a lot, isn't it? So that, yeah, it's just had a couple of them attempted in pencil, and that's about it. So that's actually not too bad a copy, that one. There's one more. That one's got some done in pen. Borderline. Right, number 8, 7 rather, just one copy of this one, which is Triplets. That one's okay, isn't it? We're on to 1947. Number 8 is Playtime. Little 5 in the corner there, which I think we can get out with our rubber. But it has just a little bit come away at the bottom of the spine there. So that should just stop that getting any worse. Okay. And then number 9, which is the final one. This is 1947 again, yeah, there we are. Go test your knowledge. So that was the short-lived Ptarmigans, if that's even how you pronounce it. And yeah, we'll have a spare set of the 9, plus a few upgrades for myself with a bit of luck. I do know I need 1 or 2 improvers, shall we say. Right. Next thing, we're on to main series Penguins, and we're starting off with, these are all first prints, and this is a first print of number 1. So, pretty nice. And the book underneath is a pretty nice copy, that. Now, I think the ones in the wrappers going to need the brush in here, because I don't want to rub the wrapper, do I? So I'll put the ones that we've cleaned, which are in wrappers, to one side, so we don't need to take them outside. But there we are. So there it is. First print, 1935. A nice, clean, fresh copy there. And I think someone will be very happy with that. It's an edition I've got. I've got this particular one in a dust wrapper anyway. But it's still a very nice example. And I would imagine this will sell to somebody for, I don't know, maybe in that condition. It's got a little bit of foxing and stuff, but it is in a wrapper. I'd say that's probably £35, maybe, something like that. So that can be a separate pile. Here we are for number 3, Poet's Pub. Now this one has got the remnants of the back cover flap and the inside, so we'll put them to one side a minute. It is a little grubby, no two ways about it, but it is the first. There's nothing to really do on it at all, so I'll keep these bits in there because they are part of the book's history, and that can be in the to be brushed pile. I'll leave the ones in the wrappers stood up, actually. I'll leave that like that. Right, number 12, The Purple Land. Bit foxed, that one, but basically okay, you know. I mean, we've seen worse. 4 Frightened People, so it's immediately got a 6pence or 6D on the front cover, so we need to take that off. There we are. Of course, before I can sell any of these, I have to compare the copies in my own collection. It's just what I have to do before I let any of these early ones go, and that's a time-consuming old thing to do, particularly when you've got people saying, "Oh, can I have this one? Can I have that one?" I say, "Well, you can, as soon as I've sort of sorted it." That's why I've sort of been trying to concentrate on getting the first 1000 main series books sorted. I have already done it on the Penguin Crime collection that we got recently. That's all been done, and it's my priority with these with the barn find. It's just to get the first 1000 sorted, and I think I've succeeded there. Although this is obviously just the start of it. There we are, that's number 15, that's okay. This is a very nice copy in a dust wrapper for number 20. So we'll take the wrapper off first. As far as I can see, it does need part of it's just folded back there. But this, as wrappers go, that's a pretty nice example. It's one of the better ones. So, although this is a common Penguin book, this is a candidate for one that may be ending up in my own collection. It's a bit foxed on the side, and I think that's just going to be, this fox in here is going to be one of the telltale signs of this barn collection. Because they've been stored in a barn, some of the books inevitably have picked up a bit of damp, and this spotting, that is a result of that. But some books are more susceptible to spotting than others. So because this is in a wrapper, we'll give it the brush in here and slide it back in, and that's a very, very nice example, that one, of a pretty scarce, well, not a scarce book, but scarce in its wrapper. There we are. I think we've done the best we can on that one, so I may end up keeping that. So I'm going to put that stood up next to Ariel, the ones in the dust wrappers. Right, now this is also in a dust wrapper, but the dust wrapper is almost non-existent. So when they're this bad, I think they're better off without being there at all. In fact, just opening the book, the dust wrapper is pretty much fallen to bits on me. So in this particular case, with it ripped like that as well, it's just not worth keeping it on. The book is a better specimen outside of its wrapper. And that is fine. It can just have its brush in a minute. This one is in a wrapper and it looks okay. Margaret Asquith, number 30. So a bit like the last one, it's got a few bits folded over. So it's seen slightly better days. But when you think how old these are, 90 years now, it's amazing they've survived at all. In some cases, isn't it? Right, I think that's about as nice as we're going to be able to get that one. We just have to put it back on the book. Carefully. Underneath, of course, look at that. It's a real beauty. Very, very sharp copy. The dust wrapper's done its job. It's kept the book in tip-top shape. I mean, it's a very, very cheap one. It's not a rare crime or anything like that, but it's still very nice. You can admire its design stylings. There we are, look at that. So once again, that's a nice book for somebody, I believe. Right, first crime one of the day, Mr. Fortune Please, and it is in a dust wrapper. So let's do the wrapper first. Well, it's got some wear to it, but it is all there, so that's something. Now the book itself, fairly bright underneath. It has got the telltale foxing because it's been stored in the same place as these other ones. Oh, now that could look better in all honesty. So let's get this name out first of all. W. Garfield. That's what that looks like. There we are. And then we got some spine repair to do here. As we can see, now it looks fairly straightforward. It's just come away a bit at the top here. So I'll pin it open like that. And let's see if we can just fill up the trench. Squeezing it in. I think that's pretty comprehensively in. Doing everything we can without having to try and take off the entire, cover. And I think we've succeeded there. Yeah, that looks pretty nice, that. Now, because it's a wrappered one, we're going to need to give it the brush now. Not a lot's come off that, actually. Dust-wise, I mean. Yeah, I think that's quite a nice copy, that one. I think the one I've got on my shelf hasn't got a wrapper. and the wrapper with this one isn't too bad, so we shall have a look. I'll be doing some comparisons. As I said, before I let any of these go, I like to compare them against my own copies. That's one of the advantages of buying a big collection, isn't it? You get to compare, contrast, and upgrade, and that's certainly what I intend to do. But I have got, as I said, I have got people waiting for these books, so I don't want to hang around. Hence my keenness to get them cleaned as quickly as possible. There we are. That's pretty straightforward, this one, number 35. 1936 now. Once again, it's just ever so slightly coming away. No dust wrapper on this one, but a pretty simple fix with regards gluing it up. There we go. Yeah, pretty nice, nice copy of that. Decent spine on it. Don't think anyone's going to complain at the rocklets there. Right, The Pilgrim of a Smile. Now this is in a wrapper, but oh no, it's not in a wrapper. It's actually, I thought that was in a wrapper, but it's not. This is just an unwrappered copy. Let's have a little look through. Yeah, Pilgrim of a Smile, 1936. I mean, apart from the slight cover foxing, nothing wrong with that really at all. It's just a decent sort of VG-ish copy. The Wallet of Kai Lung, number 39. So yeah, not tip-top shape. It's going to appreciate a brush, this one. And it has got a corner out, which is a shame. It's got that tear there, which is, you know, it's quite a big defect, that. But nothing we can do. We can't put it back. With regards the bottom of the spine here, you just need to get a little bit of glue into there underneath, just to stop that getting caught and any worse. With these early books, though, once they've all been cleaned, and the people who've sent me wants lists and stuff have had their initial pick, before these go to the Penguin Collectors Show, I am intending to bag them all up with and put my little description of the condition written on the bag, printed out, like, you know, because I think these books would get damaged quite easily without that, and it's just something that I want to do really on them to make them look as good as possible. Right, number 40, Dodo, in a wrapper. Not a super clean wrapper, but it is a wrapper nonetheless. So we'll do the wrapper first. So it's got some loss at the top and bottom, but apart from that, it's obviously faded. There's nothing like creased or out of shape that way. The book itself, that to me, yeah, I was going to say, it needs to be re-glued. So we're going to get this little £1 out of the way, which is what whoever bought this must have originally paid. A little flick through. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, it just needs the there we are. Just needs this spine re-gluing. Not a difficult job. There we are. pretty nice, that one. Brush it as well. Lovely. Okay, and then we'll put the dust wrapper back on. So not a bad example. I can't really remember the condition of my current one for Dodo, but I'll be taking a close look at that. But I seem to think my current one is actually really quite nice anyway, so it probably won't be a swapper. Now there is a second copy of Dodo in first print, if you can believe it. So we got the same book again. The wrapper, this one isn't as good. The wrapper is much more faded on the spine. Very typical of the era. The book itself, though, doesn't seem too bad. It seems quite fresh and bright. So again, a little bit of glue needed, I think, in there at the top of the spine. Not much. Just, I'm going to put some in this little trench here. Just to stop it getting any worse. There we are. There we are. There we go. So not too bad a copy. I think you'll agree. Let's brush it off since it's a dust wrapper. And then we'll slide it back in, and I think that'll be quite a good place to take a little break. For me, I'll cool the studio down. It's a very hot day today in August. We are all this cleaning, you know, it can heat the old studio up. So I shall be back in a minute. Okay, so I've had a quick commercial break and I'm back now. And thankfully, I've aired the studio out a little bit and it's a little bit cooler in here now. It's also a little bit later in the day, so I'm not sweating. Now we've got all the books in the first 100 to do. Not every one, of course, but there's a good run of them. And I definitely want to get those finished today. And we've done about half an hour of video so far. So usually these sort of cleaning videos end up being an hour to an hour and a quarter, something like that. And that's absolutely fine. So if I can do that again this time, that'll be good with me. A safety match. So I've said it before, because mentioning a match does actually remind me that this one isn't too bad, but on these early books, because they were pre-war, very much people were in the habit of having coal fires, and also much more people smoked, and because of that, the spines of books can get marked up quite badly. I haven't seen any really bad ones yet, but I'm sure there'll be some later on, and we'll see sort of evidence of a coal fire, perhaps, you know. That's a pretty nice one, you know. Very dusty top, and it's just got the author's dust wrapper flap on the end, so we'll keep that in the book. But that's a pretty nice one, that. You know, no wrapper, but nice. Just in the tiny mark on the front. I wasn't sure if that was in pen or not. No, it's not, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Right, The Spanish Farm, number 52. One thing that was missing from both the collections was My Man Jeeves, which is the first P.G. Wodehouse in Penguin, which is an absolutely gorgeous one, and one I'm after a better copy of, so it's a little bit of a shame that it's not surfaced in either of these collections. Once again, that's also absolutely fine, so I think there's nothing wrong with that. Now here's another copy of The Spanish Farm, not in such great shape. So it's going to be, the thing is, even these ones here, even when they're in nice shape and in dust wrappers, they're still not really much more than £8 to £10. So they're pretty cheap, these ones. So this one here, in no dust wrapper and in, not the best of conditions, but not awful, but not the best, is probably only going to be about £4, £3 or £4, something like that. But that may well be enough. Not everyone wants them in dust wrappers. Certainly when I started collecting, I wasn't too fussed about wrappers. I liked them, but I was happy to have the book without a wrapper just to get another number out of the way, if that makes sense. Right. Let's hope that does the trick. Lovely, that seems fine. That seems absolutely fine. Not going to be great. It's just, it is what it is. Now this is one, you can see this isn't got a wrapper, and you can see this has got a bit of a yellowy, dusty spine. So dusty answer for a dusty spined book, and it is actually a little bit sort of grubby all over in actual fact, but as long as it's not too bad inside, we'll be able to get away with it. As long as we price it very reasonable, which I tried to do. Got a bit of the binding here or something inside. Yeah, a little bit of the bindings come down, so I'm going to fold that in. Yeah, so not the greatest of copies, but, it's not too bad. Just in there, just a tiny bit of glue. Just sort that one out. And there we are. I mean, it is what it is. Now here's another one, very, very similar. You can see no dust wrapper and quite a dusty, you can see that sort of a smoky spine on it. And quite well, could be, a coal fire. People had their open coal fires. It could be cigarette smoke. Could be a combination of both, really. But when you think all the books we're looking at today have had to survive the Second World War, for starters, and a big shortage of books to be read, that was its first test, wasn't it? There we are. That's lovely. Now this end, I think that may have already been. No, it's okay. I thought it might have been already glued down by someone, but it hasn't. I think we've got a big enough squidge in there. There we are. So that saved that one from, it wasn't a great looking copy. I'm confident someone's going to have that, as long as it's not too expensive. And from that to, look at this, look how bright this one is, and that's in its wrapper. It's almost like a world away, isn't it? So let's get the wrapper out first of all. And it feels like this has never been read. So this feels like a extremely high grade example. Look at that. So the tiniest little bit of fading on the spine with a little cut, but generally, and look at the book itself. I mean, that is That's pretty breathtaking, isn't it? That is pretty breathtaking. And I know later on, in the next 100, there's an absolutely jaw-dropping copy of The Hound of the Baskervilles. I couldn't believe it when I originally unpacked it. It literally took your breath away. It was so nice. But when you think, look at that, that is... For 1936, that's really something. I think you can agree. What a little beauty that is. That is probably... I mean, I can't imagine my own one is in as good a condition as that, the one that I've got at the moment. So that, I'm sure, will be a really, really nice upgrade to my own copy. Right, this next one's also in a dust wrapper, but oh, in fact, it's not. I actually, once again, that's the second time I thought it was in a wrapper. It's not. So this is a nude, unwrappered copy, Three Wives. Don't know much about this one. Now, on the face of it, it's okay. Just that tiny little corner there, which we're going to attack right now. Probably too much, to be honest, but we're going to squidge it in anyway. There we are. And that is about as good as we can get, I think. There's a couple of little marks on the front, but as is typical, you do that and you got to sort of blend them in with the rest of the cover, which is, there we are, which is a little bit grubby. But whoever ends up keeping that one can do that, should they wish. Right, this is the first Cerise travel one. Great title, with Mystics and Magicians in Tibet. Really, really great title. And I've got a couple of people now really, really keen to get their hands on some of this travel stuff. So I very much want to get a move on with these. I do like travel, and it's not like collecting crime in the main Penguin series. There's not hundreds and hundreds of them, but there are plenty. Now, a little bit at the bottom of the spine again, which seems to be quite a common fault with a lot of these early ones, doesn't it? I can't remember the last time I had so many early ones to actually clean up. A very long time ago, you know, so it's not like it's a regular occurrence. Now, I'm just going to put a little dot on the end, just a bit like that. And then hopefully we can just turn that bit of, there we are. So it's a bit of a delicate operation there, but hopefully that's done the trick. Now, there was nothing inside this one. It's just a good old... I must get round to reading it. Maybe I'll ask my friend Jeff, who's a travel expert, what he says about that particular one. So this is a two-parter, Experiences of a New Guinea Resident Magistrate. Bit of a boring old title, if you ask me. But it came in two parts, and we've got both parts. Once again, let's see what's happening up here. Yeah, look at that. So we need to get a little bit of our glue into there. I think that'll be enough. What a mess, eh? What a mess. But as long as it stops it getting any worse, I feel like we're doing the book a service, you know? Now that one, I don't know, it's the same, you know. So we just want to get, I'm going to pull that back, a tiny wedge in there as well. And we'll squidge that around, so it should, there we are. We squidged it about a bit to keep it in place. There we are, I think we've done a good job there. Gives ourselves a pat on the back. Right, so that was part one, here is part two. This one looks much better condition. However, it's almost come away, but not quite. And all I can think of is a bit of a trait of this particular period in Penguin history, where the binding comes away. There we are. That's beautiful. The thing is, ultimately, one of the this is certainly something that attracted me to my Penguin books all those years ago, was how well the books were actually made. So it's sort of ironic that all these years later I'm spending so much of my life repairing them. But generally speaking, they are actually quite robust, and they're much more robust than some books. And when you think, as I said, these are 90 years old, admittedly this particular lot, these are pre-war, so there was no paper rationing, so they didn't have that to contend with. But at the same time, I think they've held up remarkably well. But then again, they were the sorts of books that people did save. I mean, they did. They collected Penguin books. They stuck them on the shelves, and it was almost like a sign of good reading. If you had a little run of Penguin books on your bookcase. This is another one of those ones. Don't know much about it. It's never really, it's a biography title. It's never something that's appealed to me. I think the biography titles are my least favourite in the Penguin sort of, main list, really. I'm not a fan. Anyway, not much else we can do on that one. Here's another copy, but this one is actually in a dust wrapper. Now, the dust wrapper's got 40p in the top, and I've just realised this particular one had the little flap, which will keep in with it, just in case someone wants to read it and maybe use it as a bookmark or something like that, which is probably what that was used for. Right, so let's take this dust wrapper off now. So, let's see, it doesn't look like it's been on that snugly. So by that I mean, it looks like it's not been fully put on the book properly, because this is a bit concertinaed and it is a bit loose. You can see there where it's just about going to come away. The book itself, though, underneath, look at that, beautiful. I think that's probably how mine is. I don't think I've got one in a wrapper, or if I have, the wrapper wasn't good enough to keep on the book, so I took it off. But there we are. Apart from that, it's a beauty. So we just brush the top. Okay. I think we've got that in carefully. So the wrapper is not the mintest, but, underneath, what a beauty. What an outstanding copy. Right. Mr. Weston's Good Wine. Okay, Mr. Weston, how good is your wine? Now, look at Very Fox, look at that. This one sadly has suffered from the old aging and foxing. But apart from that, it's a pretty nice, robust, undust wrapped copy. So I don't think it's going to be wasted. And now this one, which is Grey Wolf, which is a real favourite of mine. It's just a lovely looking book. Very, very nice indeed. Now it's in a wrapper. Oh, Grey Steel, rather. Grey Wolf is the follow-up. Oh no, Grey Wolf. It is, yes. So Grey Steel was the follow-up to this, and this one had this little author's insert inside it, which was really nice. So I've never seen that before, but I can't imagine it wasn't included in the book when it first got published. And that is, once again, an absolute beauty. Yes, lovely that. I actually just paused there because I wanted to take a couple of photos of that copy of Grey Wolf, but that's all done now. And then we're on to number 79, which is another rapid one, The Rasp. Obviously, this is not so nice. So something's happened here. The book has been spilt on. That's what it looks like to me. Something has been spilt on this book, and it's caused it to be all stained like that. I wonder what it was. Yes, maybe somebody's cup of tea. Anyway, sadly, that's gone through to the book itself. You can see it's like splotched. It still feels fairly robust. It's a shame it's got that piece out the top there. We're going to need to re-glue it. But to be honest, that's not altogether too bad, in all things considered. As long as the price is reasonable, I think someone will still be very interested in this one. Just has to be realistic with the price, really, Well, I'm sure we will be. Right. Since it's wrappered, we'll give it the brush inside here. And then let's carefully get this on. Again, I can't really remember the condition of my current one, so I'm assuming it's okay. It's not stuck down very well, that. There we are. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? It's a rapid one. It's the sort of book that needs to go into a paperback bag as soon as possible, really. Right, number 18, and this is looking a little bit the worse for wear. Yeah, it's got a bit cut from it. This is pretty ropey, to be honest. But it's just about there. I mean, it is pretty ropey. It will just be a couple of pounds, that one, if that, to be honest. Right. Great book. Great author, Henry Williamson. Someone I do enjoy reading. Very, very relaxed reading, this chap. And he is recommended. Garfield Ward decided to put his moniker inside. Quite deep as well. don't think it's going to get any better than that. I don't want to over rub it. Yeah, not perfect, but it is a first, and you know, it's okay. It's okay. Reasonably bright. H.E. Bates, The Poacher. Early one by him. It's again a little bit ropey, this one. Spine has definitely seen better days, so we'll slip the glue in where we can and hope for the best. That looks okay. Just holding it in place for a moment, so bear with me. That seems okay. As good as we're going to get it, I think. Right. 85, and it's in a wrapper, so that's good. Isambros at the Ford. First of all, the wrapper itself, not too bad. Shame about that stain on the front. Else that wouldn't have been too bad, a little example there. But underneath, look at that, outstanding. Nice and bright and new. Gorgeous, you could say. 1937. There we are, not a mark on it. Evidently not been through any sort of second-hand system. A very nice example of a reasonably common book. It's not difficult to find this one. It doesn't go for big money, but that's a nice copy of it, so we'll put that in the wrappered copies. Next one, far, far worse. In fact, it's one step away from disaster. It's just very, very worn indeed. I don't think it can be saved. Can it be saved? I mean, it is very, very... It's on the borderline. Let's see if we can save this bit of the spine, because that would, in effect, save it. It really is quite the bad specimen, this. Well, once again, it's just going to be one of those ones which is a first. It's going to be really cheap, like a couple of quid, if that. And someone might want it. Next then, number 86, another beautiful copy in a dust wrapper. So, what is this on the inside here? Look at that. Not really sure what that is. Some sort of dirt which is coming off with my fingernail, you can see. That is very unusual because it's a beautiful condition wrapper. I'm not sure what that was. I think we've got whatever would come off easily, we've got off. So we'll put that to one side because it's all right still. So what's this on the spine? Oh God, look, it's coming off in my hand. At least it's coming off. I don't know what that could be. It's like dirt has got underneath somehow, the dust wrapper, and caused this particular mess. Well, I think we've got the bulk of it off because generally speaking it's a really nice copy. I'm just not sure what that was, you know. Some up on the spine here. Something must have dropped down, some sort of earth or something like that. It's unusual. Wow. That to me is a bit of a mystery. I think we've just about got all the little bits off it. At least I thought we had. Just feeling it, I feel it with my hand. How unusual. There we are. I think that's about as good as we're going to get it. It's a pretty nice bright copy, but with some weird muck of some sort on it. But it is what it is. I think ultimately it's not too bad at all. And unfortunately, that's where I'm going to have to call it now. I'm going to be back tomorrow to finish this video because I've run out of time. Okay, so it's the next day, and I ran out of time yesterday, and I thought, well, I'll just leave it till Sunday morning, which is what it is today. It's a really gorgeous day, so we'll still be able to do the brushing of the other books outside. And what a lovely one that. I left a real beauty there. It is definitely one of the more common crime titles, this, but still, it's a very nice example indeed. And I suspect, once again, that this is probably going to be better than my own copy, but at least I'll be able to start comparing at least the first 100 quite soon, which will be good news. Obviously, what I've done, I've broken the this new barn find collection into hundreds. So we got 1 to 100 in this one, plus we did those little ptarmigans. Now, the 101 to 200 run is a lot more extensive. There's a lot more in there. So we'll see. That may be a video in its own right, in all honesty. But we'll see. Now, this is nice as well. Number 90 in a dust wrapper. Also quite scarce, I think. So, at least in a wrapper. That's okay. That's quite tidy. Yeah, 1937. But what I'll try and do, rather than just do straight hundreds on these, each video I'll try and add in something a little bit more unusual from the collection, just to spice it up a bit, so it's just not all main series. But as you can imagine, I need to work through these books in some semblance of order, which is perhaps easier said than done, you know, but we can but try. But yeah, that's really nice. A nice copy. I suspect that may be better than what I've got at the moment. Another one in a wrapper, and a good one at that. Yeah, Ghost Stories of an Antiquary. There we are. Pretty nice dust wrapper, that one. Pretty nice. Okay. Once again, bit of foxing. It is a trademark of this collection. There's no denying it. Some of these books have been foxed, and it does seem as if this box, because they're not all this bad, this box here, depending on where it was stored in the barn, has received, it has picked up a little bit of foxing and aging, and well, there's no way around that. We can't reverse it, but it shouldn't get any worse, because here in the studio, it's a very, very dry environment. I actually, when I'm not in here, I run a dehumidifier, and that sucks out any moisture that's in the room. Right, this one's a little rough, number 94 here. Yes, not the greatest. Yeah, it's sort of stuck there. Not very nice at all, this. But we're going to need to reglue the spine. There we are. Take out this bit of it. I think it is salvageable, but only just, It is a borderline. There we are. Now, ugh. Pretty ropey. Ugh. It's like little corpuscles of dried up glue. Right. Ugh. Let's get this spine re-glued. We've only got about another, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 left to do. And then we'll have licked this 100, and it'll be a job well done. Yeah, I mean, it's a copy. It'll be cheap and cheerful. Hopefully someone will be happy to have that to fill a little hole, but it's not going to be winning any beauty contests, let's put it that way. So it is going to be really, really cheap. Here's another copy, exactly the same book, but it's a different story. Look at this. It's in a wrapper, in a nice wrapper, in all honesty, which is good. Yep, got the page edge foxing again. But generally, that's a pretty nice copy, that one. Once again, I should be looking quite closely at this one against my existing copies. to make sure I keep the best one. Yep, nice stuff. Another one in a dust wrapper. I gotta admit, we are being treated today, aren't we? All these dust wrappers. I'm certain my own run has not got anything like as many in dust wrappers, so that's why I'm confident I'm going to be getting quite a few little upgrades here. Lovely. There he was. He doesn't look very happy, does he, in his picture? Oh, Gilbert George. Look at him. Yes. Okay. All right. That was 95. 96. Once again in a dust wrapper. Exceptional. I mean, yes, I've got all these books myself, but no way have I got them all in dust wrapper. I mean, no way. So these are a real step up for me. You know, people say to me, well, why are you buying more Penguin books? You know, you've got them all now. And I said, well, yeah, I've got them, but any collector will tell you it's a constant job upgrading your copies to get better ones. I mean, all the time. Every collector, and I've been, upgrading my collection for decades. And every collector will be the same. They're not going to stop picking up books just because they've already got it. If it's a better condition copy, particularly with Penguins, you're going to grab it. Right, this is number 97, without a dust wrapper. That's okay, so we'll pop that one over there. In actual fact, I think this is on my list of ones to upgrade, so I am actually quite pleased about that. That was one I needed to upgrade. Right, The Murders in Parade Street, and this is number 98, and once again it's in a dust wrapper, which is lovely. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, that's just lovely. Very, very nice indeed. That dust wrapper is unpriced, I notice. I know they exist in priced and unpriced state. This is the first journey in the world. This is a little bit rougher. Has got its wrapper, but it's in a bit of a state. But underneath the book is, well, it's got the fox in. And this one's been foxed quite badly, in actual fact. It's a key title, this. It's apparently it's an incredible book, or 2 volumes of a book. So the actual content is highly regarded, and it's still in print today. I think the Folio Society did an edition of this as well. So it is, a key book. And Penguin, as we'll see in a minute, Penguin did actually re-release this in 1 volume. So they made it like a giant size 1 volume edition. But here's number 99. This one, or number 100 rather. That was number 99. This one is, I think, slightly better. There's not a lot in it. Oh, look at that. Quite a bit of pencil writing at the back there, which is a shame. So, I wonder what they were doing there. I think it's rather too much writing to take a rubber to it, in all honesty. When it's a whole page like that, it's almost the same thing as if it was a crossword book. It's best to leave it, I think. Carefully do the top edge. There we are. And then, as I mentioned, they did a 1-volume edition. So we got 2 copies of it. This one's unfortunately got a 5p, which looks like someone's tried to rub out. So let's see how we get on with it. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that. I mean, it does spoil it, but you know, it is only the re-release. It's a reprint, but it's the first thus, the 2-volume edition. So really, I guess this should be in with my reprints box, in all honesty. But it's okay. And then we got another copy of it, the 1-volume edition. This one did come in a dust wrapper. I actually have a copy of this one in a dust wrapper. The first page is stuck down a little bit. But there we are, first double volume edition. So that's all the books cleaned as best we can. I just noticed at the top here, actually, there's a little bit, just a tiny bit of the top of the spine coming away. So we'll put some glue in there. But yeah, that's all the books actually cleaned as best we can. The last stage is this pile of books here in front of me, which didn't have dust wrappers. They're the ones that are now going to need a proper brush. So I'm just going to keep my finger on here for a moment and let that set. And we're going to just take these outside so I can do these outside the studio just to finish off. Okay then, so time to start the outside cleaning and brushing. Which is better than doing it in the close confines of the studio, because it's not good on your lungs. Although these aren't actually too bad, you know, considering their age. So that's good. A couple of dusty ones here. Yes, I shall look forward to comparing these against my own books later today. And I have a list of people looking for these early titles to fill in holes in their collections. So. Also a very satisfying thing to do, as you can imagine. So if you're watching this and you're a Penguin collector, don't hesitate to drop your wants lists to me. And you never know, I might have some. Anyway, that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Yet more penguin stuff. You know what I could really do with? I could do with a nice big pan book collection. Just to keep it interesting. That would be brilliant. But there you go. There we are. Anyway, if you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it a thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage cleaning content. And I shall look forward to seeing you again next week. And I'll try and mix it up again as best I can. But until then, bye.